Hits one into right down the line. It may go. So crazy, folks. So crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. Playing a high drive in the left. Back goes to Craig. He's at the track. He has it. The world champion for 2011. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts, Ron, Pete, and Elliot.
All right, everyone, welcome back to this week's show. Can you guys are hearing me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a terrible intro. I wish I could start all over and do that again, but I can't.
Par for the course.
Yeah. The
what
way
a
everything's
positive
going
note.
Fuck. Nothing's gone right. Nothing. Just fuck it. I don't care. Fuck it. I don't care. I can't even get a simple document like Microsoft Word to pull up right. Jesus Christ. Hello, everyone. How are we all
Welcome to
tonight?
the Explicit Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
Why
right.
not? Just send it to hell right now. I mean, that's the way it's going. Yeah.
Welcome
so
to the
I had
podcast where Ron loses his shit.
I'm about to. I'm about to. I was going to lead in with a totally different thing here, but now I'm not. I had Scott Boras quotes all lined up. Marlins put the MIA in Miami. Toronto's got blue sickness or whatever the hell that means. What else did he say? What else came out of that man's mouth? He's the gift.
You got to put some effort into it.
He's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. I will be sad when this guy hangs up the cleats, so to speak. So, Pete,
I'll take over for him. It's fine.
We have Pete, Elliot, Brecklin is here. We're all happy. Let's get this thing going. We've got some GM meetings happening right now, so there's lots of news that's kind of floating around there about the Cardinals, what they may or may not be interested in right now. The Cubs could be losing a pitching coach, maybe Joe Madden after this year's in, maybe during the season. Who the hell knows? Girardi's on standby, I'm pretty sure. So, guys, where do you want to start? You want to start with the biggest question of all?
What I had for dinner?
I was say, what
Should we go right?
That?
Should we just go straight to the guy himself? I mean, Scott Boras. I mean, this is it's fashionable, it's historical, it's elite, global, certainly, and it has inspirations that deal with great shoes and great hair. When you're in a category of talent and a player in the game that rarely is there, you're talking about a process that I think is very unconventional. You're dealing with a generational player, and what is a generational player? He holds the quality of elite performance. He's available for the greatest number of elite years of that performance. And you've seen an owner's dream happen before you. For an owner to know that the rocket ship of economic opportunity is just blasting off because the player is just entering his prime years. Scott Boras has trumped himself over prestige value by saying a rocket ship of economic opportunity.
You know,
enough about Scott Boras.
It almost sounded like he was recording a promo for Prestige Worldwide.
Boats and hose, bitch. Boats and hose.
Jeez,
Catalina wine.
That's right.
That's it. He's not talking about Bryce Harper. He's talking about the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, that's a better thing. I had to cut the Facebook Live video off because they're going to hear my audio on there, and it's probably going to kill people. So I had to cut that one off. So we'll kill that one right now. Sorry to report that. So while I'm taking care of that, I want to know what you guys think, Cubs fans. That the Cubs, a lot of people are chattering about this, a lot of writing. You know, the Cubs might be out of most of the action this offseason. I don't buy it, but I want to hear what you guys have to think.
Yeah, it's really weird. Pete, I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on this.
I think it's impossible to tell. I mean, quite honestly, because I wouldn't say that what Theo has said from day to day has been consistent. And so I'm kind of inclined to say that this is a smokescreen and they're trying to hide their intentions as much as possible. They've talked about being active in the market, and everybody assumes that that's the trade market because they think that they're up against some kind of a hard cap. But then he turned around and he said that there is no artificial cap. So I really am not getting a clear read on this, and I'm not looking to jump to conclusions at all until things actually shake out. But I have a feeling that if when the dam breaks with the Cubs, it's going to happen fast. Like if they do sign one of the, if we're to believe that their salary cap or their approach to the cap is hard, then I don't see how you can go into the free agent market at all because they're so close to the top, to that tier 3 right now. How can you sign anyone, much less, a Harper or a Machado? I mean, they're supposedly within what is it, like $10 or $15 million? That doesn't leave much room for anyone. So if they are going to be active in the free agent market, I think and try to stay under that third level of the cap, I think you're going to see a lot of trades. But I think that that's the case anyway. Even if this is all a smokescreen and they're just trying to disguise their intentions with, let's say, Harper, I think that the minute that they sign Harper, you're going to see Ian Happ or Kyle Schwarber shipped out within 24 hours.
I think you see both.
And I think that the groundwork for that will be laid before the signing of Harper actually happens, that they will have a handshake deal with wherever they're going to send those guys. And the Harper signing will just be the culmination of that process.
Yeah, it really has been, because there's been a lot of Cubs aren't going to spend from Gordon Whitmire and Jesse Rogers. I mean, they're all saying that, but then you see these other guys saying, this is like you said, this is all a smokescreen. They just do not want to let anybody know of their true intentions of the offseason, of whether or not they're going to go for one of Manny Machado or Bryce Harper, and that there is the potential to spend huge. They just don't want anybody to know. Theo and Jet are playing this so close to the vest that it could go either way. And then you had recently a couple of articles released that they're not really enamored with this class, which the last 2 years you were led to believe that this was the class that they were looking to spend huge on. It's actually next year's class that they're looking to make the huge splash in, with Nolan Arenado being the big name coming out of next year's free agent class.
Yeah, but that's assuming a lot, because then you're assuming
right
that Arenado doesn't get extended between now and then.
That, and you're assuming that Chris Bryant will be okay with playing left field the entire time.
Right.
So, and with his shoulder, does outfield make more sense for him to be at?
Fewer throws.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, hypothetically speaking, yeah, that makes sense. But do you really want to take a year off of being able to make a big splash in the market with the premier free agent of a possibly of a generation being available at 26 and keeping him for his entire prime years of a decade? It'd be like Mike Trout becoming available and then saying, we're not going to sign him. We're going to wait till for a class for next year.
Right. And it runs counter to what Theo said when he got here, that every season was sacred, and that when you're in a competitive window, you take advantage of that competitive window.
Right.
Not making the move, at least not being in that market, runs completely counter to that statement.
Right.
And I think that that's one thing that you can take Theo at his word.
And if you have the opportunity to go for broke for these next couple of years until 2021 or 2022, when you have to deal with the rest of your homegrown guys and them becoming eligible for free agency. Don't you just take this chance to be a dominating club for the next, what, three years?
Right.
I mean, I say yeah. I mean, because if you can get 2 World Series in these next 3 years with the signing of Bryce Harper, with Brandon Morrow coming back healthy, with a hopefully a Yu Darvish coming back healthy, the re-signing of Cole Hamels for next year, you do it. Because you have a lot. I mean, you've got Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Addison Russell if he's still with the team, Kyle Hendricks, all coming up in 2 to 3 years for free agency that you're not going to be able to keep all these guys. So you've got to take the chance and you've got to spend the money now, because next year you're going to be swimming in it with this TV deal.
Yeah, and I wonder what the reaction of Cubs fans will be if the perception is that they sat out this free agent market with Machado and Bryant out there and available. I can't imagine that Cubs fans are going to be particularly happy. And it's not like the Cubs are approaching this, are up against the cap, and aren't good. Where the draft penalties for going over that tier 3 cap would really hurt. Dropping from, say, the number 5 pick in the draft to the number 15. In addition to the financial penalties, if you go over that third tier, you drop back 10 spots. Well, if the Cubs are picking 25th in the 2019 draft anyway, what does going from 25 to 35 really matter? At that point, it all comes down to scouting. And if you're scouting well, you're going to land.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Right? You're not going to land on that kind of generational talent at 25, much less 35. So at that point, you're just trusting your scouting process.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the scary thing that came out today is, what if the White Sox starting outfield in 2020, left to right, goes Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, and Bryce Harper? I could pitch for that team.
The Sox?
Yeah, the White Sox are reportedly in, and somebody snapped a picture at the United Center because
they were doing a promo video.
Yeah, the Bulls are owned by Jerry Reinsdorf, who's also the owner of the White Sox, and is part owner of the United Center. And somebody snapped a picture of the ticker in the lobby, one of the major entrances of the United Center, that said number 34 with the Sox logo, Bryce Harper. And reportedly, it wasn't in that picture, but also reportedly they had made an oversized jersey, a Harper White Sox jersey that they hung on the Michael Jordan statue outside of the United Center for that video. So they're clearly making the push. And now is the time. Their prospects are bubbling up. So
there was something that Michael Kopech had posted that nobody really didn't get until this other picture was posted about giving up his number 34.
And subsequently deleted.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think Harper is going to want the White Sox? Who wants the White Sox? Let's be honest. No one. So,
well, it depends on money.
Yep.
And it depends. With the White Sox, I think it would greatly depend on money. But also, if you take a clear-eyed look, they should be close. They have a number of legit prospects who are bubbling up at AA and AAA, and should be breaking through. And if Bryce Harper is taking a look at it, not that necessarily this year is going to be the year, but next year and subsequent years, and he gets to be the man.
Right.
I mean, he and Chris Bryant can still have their game nights whenever both teams are in town.
Yeah, and because in 2 years you'll have Michael Kopech back from Tommy John surgery, which was a huge blow to the White Sox, and I feel awful for that guy for what happened. But then you also have Dylan Cease coming up through the minors, who the Cubs traded over with Eloy Jimenez, who at least we'll get to enjoy watching those guys as homegrown Chicago picks. But I mean, it would make sense, and if the White Sox can sell him that the way that the Cubs sold John Lester, the same way, I mean, it wouldn't look. It wouldn't
because
look terrible.
nobody thought that the Cubs were coming in 2015, and that's when John Lester signed. Yeah. Everybody was expecting the Cubs to finally make their break in 2016. So John Lester knew what he was coming into, and he probably didn't expect that they were going to make it to the NLCS in 2015. Welcome back, Ron.
Hey, guys.
We just covered the White Sox signing Bryce Harper and their monster outfield that they're going to have in 2020.
I appreciate you guys bearing with me there. I had to switch laptops. I'm telling you right now. Sorry.
No worries.
All good.
Okay.
Sometimes that's not your fault.
Ron, what's going to hurt more for Cardinals fans? When Bryce Harper signs with the Chicago White Sox, or when the White Sox call up Luis Robert to patrol center field?
I don't think I really care either way.
I'm worrying about the White Sox when you give me something to worry about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I deal with two of their minor league affiliates out here, and I don't know what to say other than White Sox. Mariners. You want to talk about the Mariners or the Tigers, maybe, or I don't know.
My reference though is to the fact that you guys were in on Luis Robert. In fact, the story was that it was down to the Sox and the Cardinals, and you guys lost again.
Again, who? I mean, that's fair. But
Do you really want to lose to the White Sox twice in a decade?
The White Sox just don't bother me one way or the other, and I barely remember that whole story around Luis Robert, so I don't. I'm surprised I even remembered his name or even rung a bell. No, I don't. I don't think about that very often. All right. And I certainly am not going to care. I'm not going to care if they sign Bryce Harper.
You're not going to care if they sign Bryce Harper?
You're going to be one of the few Cardinals fans who does, because the sense I'm getting, at least from Cards Twitter, is that Bryce Harper is ready to sign the contract once Mo makes the offer.
We are not getting Bryce Harper.
I'm not.
Listen to me loud and clear. Let it go. Get mad now. Cry your tears and move on.
Burn your imaginary Bryce Harper jerseys.
I put it on Twitter. I was like, all I'm hearing is Bryce Harper talk, and then like, oh, what's our backup plan going to be if we don't get Bryce Harper? As though that actually is plan A. And I asked, like, what do you want to hear besides that? And then people were answering, like, what are we going to rename the arch when Bryce Harper comes?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Bryce Archer?
Oh, God. Okay, that's actually Silver.
Did you just say that, Elliot, what I thought you said?
Oh, yeah.
Bryce Archer.
Come on, that was a good one.
Yeah, come on.
No, I'm not conceding that.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
not.
Bryce Harper is not coming to the Cardinals. The Cardinals have no reason, especially when we don't have much push to be looking at Harper anyway, because of who our front office is. We're not going to want to shell out that kind of money when we are saturated with outfielders. It's not going to happen. Let's talk about Josh Donaldson. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. So Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, I sent you guys the link to it, right? If there's anybody I genuinely trust when they put something out, he's one of the few that I take him for his word. I don't know how you guys may feel different, but I take him for his word. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that, based on their history of plucking guys, I'm talking taking people that have no experience being in a St. Louis uniform. They don't bring them over via trade. They don't get to sit for a month or two in that dugout, play on that field in the city in front of those fans. They've never really had luck, other than you can't count Johnny Peralta as being a success as far as signing a guy off the street who's never been in the organization. That's not what they do. They've never won one of those contests. I don't see this being any different. So I agree with the story, with its sentiment that some people have put out around the story. What they've picked up on is that the Cardinals are looking past that. They're not going to wait for the Bryce Harper market to develop. If they have an opportunity to bring in a couple guys that can change that lineup, they're going to do that ahead of this Harper signing. We haven't even talked about the fact that where's the proof that he even would be willing to go there? I just don't. I don't see that either. What if he's just not even willing to play there? So I don't think they're going to.
There was a quote that said that he enjoyed playing.
Yeah, that was from 2013. That's 2013.
Yeah, which there's a difference between enjoying a stadium and the atmosphere that exists in that stadium when you play for a series of games versus wanting to live there. You know?
Yes, totally agree. A lot different.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there aren't enough high-end hair salons to handle Bryce Harper's flow?
I think they can handle his hairstyle. I think it's
See, that's why you're not getting Bryce Harper. He doesn't have a hairstyle. He has flow.
What?
It's kind of like I'm sure all the players love playing in Florida, but I'm pretty sure they don't want to be on the Marlins or the Tampa Bay Rays team.
Yeah, if they could only figure a way to get their pay routed through a low-tax state like Florida. It's just too bad they'd have to play for that team. God, the guys playing for Houston must love it. Not only do they get to keep more of their paycheck, but they also get to win.
Cool. Wow, if only the same.
All right.
What else do you want to talk about tonight, Ron?
I don't know.
Who's next?
I don't have show notes on this laptop.
All right. How awesome is that?
So we just get to
let's go. You know what? I think what we ought to do tonight is we ought to intersperse it with little bits of Boras. Bits of Boras. I kind of like that. Ryan, you hit the big one, but Scott broke the seal actually last week when he announced that Marwin Gonzalez had a new nickname. He said, "I want you to know Marwin has a new name. We're calling him Swiss G. He has a tool for every position on the field." Swiss G. There's been talk that Swiss G might be starting for the or might be signed by the Cubs. Wouldn't that be great on Players Weekend? Swiss G for the Cubs. I love it. Love it. Swiss G.
Carl's Jr. is still my favorite.
Still should be Thick Burger. Actually, it should be DFA.
Oh, wow. Wow, Elliot.
Oh.
Well, one, I'm not Elliot.
Well, I mean, I heard Elliot's reaction. That's his guy, man. He's always going.
Like
he's always taking the Thick Burger angle. So let's not move. Okay, so that's our taste of Boras quotes there segment. But for now, so let's not move off the Harper thing too quick because the GM, the Cards GM, at least that's his title, Mike Gersh, is quoted as saying here, "I don't think the fact that we haven't gotten some big deals done changes whether we're able to offer another big contract." I'm paraphrasing a little bit there.
Completely mutually exclusive things.
I think that's what
we offered a big contract. We got a deal done. Not the same. Right?
No, I think the point he's making is because they haven't won a couple, they weren't able to sign David Price. They weren't able to sign Jason Hayward. They weren't able to convince Stanton to waive his no trade clause. Not a signing, it's a trade. I get it, right? But they still had to sell themselves on a player. I think the point he was making here, because we haven't been able to get those big deals done, doesn't mean that they wouldn't be willing to do it again. And that's what he was quoted as saying. So that's what point he was trying to make. But they also followed up with, let me pick up where I left off here. It doesn't affect our level of interest in doing that where we see an opportunity that makes sense for us. We want the best hitter we can get who fits with our team. That might be the caveat there. The one that fits with our team. So if they're not able to do something, they don't end up offering anything. The thing with the fans is the line to the fans I can see coming is, well, we saw a better fit for how our team's constructed, and so that's why we brought in Mike Moustakas.
Oh, you don't want the guy who hits all the home runs? Isn't that what was missing from the lineup for the Cardinals? Was a bat that hit home runs? I don't know. I'm sorry. That's a pretty hard pill to swallow for a Cardinals fan.
No, I don't think that's you're asking me. I'm not every Cardinal fan. You're asking me. No, it's not just a bat that hits home runs. It's just a goddamn bat that hits. Just give me a bat that hits, not just home runs, but a hitter, right? A number 3, a legitimate hitter. And I'm not saying Harper's not, but I don't care who the name is. But I think that's just what I'm reading into that is, even if we make an offer, we don't win again. We see a better fit being here with, a Donaldson or Moustakas or whoever it is, or a trade for Paul Goldschmidt.
Yes. As nice and lovely as Bryce Harper is, we don't need him.
he'd
You
be
sure
an
about that?
he'd be an over the top nice to have. I hesitate a little bit to agree with you, Breckel, and say we don't need him because they need somebody.
Well, yeah, they need someone, but we're not going to go
Yeah.
up with Bryce Harper when he's expensive and an outfielder. We're
Yeah,
going to go with somebody more Cardinals front office comfortable level.
Right. That's true.
I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that word. Comfortable.
I'm only a little aggravated this show, just enough to where it's coming through.
Ron, do I hear the familiar tones?
Yeah. I'm going to call him back. So
You need to get him his own ringtone so that when people are listening to the show, they can also, surmise that it's definitely B calling in.
Who
Like
is rubbing
that
felt?
still.
Who is rubbing felt against their mic? That has to be Elliot.
No, Mike's right here. You'd be able to see me rubbing felt.
Okay. He's
Now
calling
I
again.
am.
All right. Give me a second, guys. I got to unhook everything now.
That's weird.
Plug it in.
Professional operation. I'm running
All
here.
right. Well, listen. While you're doing that, Scott Boras on Manny
Hey,
Machado
on me.
being compared to Bryce Harper. He's a great baseball player, but the reality of it is, how many 1,000 OPS seasons do you have? Ooh, throwing shade at somebody who's not his client. Braden, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Pete.
Wow.
Wow.
He's coming in hot.
What's
What do
happening?
you got for us tonight, Braden?
Well, Bryce Harper. Oh, good old Bryce Harper. You know how I feel about Bryce Harper.
No. Tell me.
No. How do you feel about Bryce
Good old
Harper?
Bryce Harper. I cannot wait till I see one team waste all kinds of money on Bryce Harper.
Okay.
And I am, as the MLB person that I am incredibly mad that Bryce Harper is the cover athlete. He doesn't deserve it. If you guys were on this, because I don't
why does he
think
not
he should be
deserve
on
it?
the cover. What?
Why does he not deserve it?
Does he? What? He batted, 150 one time in the year? And he didn't. I don't think he had.
So did Matt Carpenter, but he was apparently the mid MVP of the season.
Oh, don't do him like that, Elliot.
No, Bryce Harper.
I'm sorry, was that an alternative fact?
I would rather have Javi Baez as a cover athlete than him.
Whoa.
No, I didn't catch that beat. Say that again.
I would rather have Javi Baez as a cover athlete than Bryce Harper. I mean,
Ooh, I didn't hear you say that.
I don't
didn't
like
say
Bryce
that.
Harper.
I'll take that.
I like Javi Baez as bubblegum juggling in the dugout better than Bryce Harper.
Hey, he was your second base Silver Slugger.
Well, he like juggles bubblegum in the dugout.
That too.
What's
Which
wrong with that?
It's pretty cool.
What's wrong with that?
What
No, I like how he does that.
Oh, okay.
So B, what
I
you're
don't like
saying,
Bryce Harper.
what you're saying is that one, Bryce Harper isn't a good enough player to be on the cover, and two,
No.
his flow isn't good enough to be on the cover.
I don't
This flow
know.
is good enough.
What about his shoes? Scott Boras is a huge fan of his shoes.
Scott Boras. Scott. Oh, jeez.
B, I feel like there's a lot of haterade coming from your end because you know the Cardinals aren't going to get Harper.
Oh, I don't want
I
them
feel-
to get Harper.
Let the hate flow through you, B.
I don't want them
let it
I don't want them
flow.
to waste a bunch of money on a player who's going to bat 150.
He's not going to bat 160.
I don't know. I don't like Bryce Harper.
Clearly,
He's overrated.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
He's overrated. I wouldn't waste 10 years on him.
He's a good baseball player, but I would agree with you that
I don't care. I
Nice,
don't like 10-year contracts.
it's not going to be a 10-year contract.
No.
There are going to be at least.
I don't like
opt-outs
Bryce
in
Harper. I don't want him.
There are going to be at least
Someone
two.
can waste money on him.
There'll be a no trade clause probably for the first 4 years, and then there'll be opt-outs after he turns 30.
Speaking of no trade clauses, one, there was no trade clause in the offer that the Nationals made to
I
Bryce
saw
Harper.
that.
And two, Jason Hayward's no trade clause is now a limited no trade clause. So
Yes,
he can be
so
shopped.
he can be traded.
Right.
Bye.
As long as it's to a contender, correct?
Now, let me, I don't know. There's been no reports on what the teams on his list are. Here's my question. Do you think that the Cubs could trade Jason Hayward, Addison Russell, and Carl Edwards for a bag of balls?
Maybe a bag of dicks.
Well, I wasn't going to drink tonight.
A bag of beat dicks. How about that?
Okay. All right, B.
We already hit explicit, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just go over the top. B, why don't you swear a little bit? You're dead.
No,
Pops
you don't.
doesn't mind.
All right.
Now,
I'm
what's
hearing
that?
echoes.
Pops, what are you doing?
I know. I'm hearing us. Hey, B.
Yep.
You got to go to bed.
Okay. See you, Pops.
B, wait. Before you go to bed, give us one last hot take before you call it a week.
One last.
Hot take. I think I'm gonna do an off-season MLB simulation sometime this weekend, and I'll give you my update. And Bryce Harper will probably sign like a $15 billion deal with the Mariners. So will Manny Machado probably.
Mariners are sellers.
That's what happens every single time in MLB.
And buyers.
Machado and Harper always sign with the Mariners in MLB. Always.
Why am I hearing ourselves?
I don't know. Who's watching?
I've got a question for you, B.
Yeah.
So if you don't want Harper, who do you want?
I don't want Harper. No, I'm good.
I know, but you want Donaldson, Goldschmidt. I mean, if you were to
I'd take Goldschmidt.
You'd like Goldschmidt?
For a cheap little price, yeah, I'd take Goldschmidt.
At 31,
So long as he's on the discount rack, then we'll consider him.
Well, I just don't want to waste a bunch of money on Bryce Harper because I don't think he'll live up to the hype.
would you prefer they waste prospects on a 31-year-old first baseman? Moving and then moving Matt Carpenter over to third?
Oh God.
I just Bryce Harper. He won't come to St. Louis.
On this, we agree.
I mean,
Universally.
he's not coming to St. Louis.
He's not. All right, buddy. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, see
Hope
ya,
you feel better.
gray-haired Pops.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, B.
And I'm shutting it off. Okay, sorry. Yes, Pete, to answer your question, I switched over to my GoPro camera and using it as a webcam. The GoPro likes to shut itself off.
It didn't
So
just shut
nothing's
itself off. It puts you into like 16 different frames.
No, that was me.
Effects.
That was me going through and trying to get it back to camera mode.
Very nice. Hey, listen, on reports that the Yankees are not in on Bryce Harper, Scott Boras said this is a submarine race, not a regatta. He is already in midseason form. And
I like that.
He's incredible, man.
The fucking Catalina wine mixer.
We got to get in good with at least one general manager who will invite us out to the general managers meetings, not because I want to get in on the good stuff. I just want to be in town so that we can be at Scott Boras's beginning of the offseason press conference, because that is gold, man. And
no,
I can't find
that would be the only
audio
thing
anywhere.
Yeah, no, I know. I look for it too, Pete, because me reading it's not great. Again, me reading it sucks, but going in and hearing him say it. But I looked for it too. I so badly wanted to get clips of that on here tonight, and you're right.
Phenomenal?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I guess I could have if I would have planned ahead of time. I'm ready to quit.
I tell you what.
Come on.
Speaking of the hallmarks of the offseason, right?
Yes.
We know it's the offseason because Scott Boras is holding court. We also know it's the offseason because Jerry DiPoto made a trade.
Way to go, Seattle
Yes.
Mariners. All
Yay.
right, let's go offseason.
And we know it's the offseason because the Padres took a Cardinal. And we know it's the offseason because the Nationals already signed a Boras client. So, yes, I mean, there's lots of indicators.
That's right. All
you were
the indicators
confused.
are there. The baseball season is over.
If time was a forest, you just look for the little breadcrumbs that Scott Boras leaves you, and
Yep.
you will know what time of the year it is.
That's right.
Starting with a 65-minute scrum with the press. Then you know I'm either in November or early December, and that's where I'm at. If time was a forest.
Will y'all still love me if I'm the next Scott Boras?
Oh my God.
Here's one we missed from Scott Boras. He says we have a cancer about the system such as systemic losing. He called it a competitive cancer.
All right, so let's organize ourselves here a little bit more because I think I liked a couple topics we were on. So let's stay with Harper because Boras is a whirlwind, and I want to get caught up in that whirlwind. If Boras is a tornado, I'm going right for the heart of it, and I want to go there, but not yet. I want to stay with the Harper thing just for a second. Look, I'm interested in what you guys think of this. If the Cubs are out on this for reasons that people have been quoting, if you believe everything, if they're out of it, I'm really interested to see down the road if the Cardinals are actually in on it. How do the Cubs react then? And are they already planning ahead steps they would need to take to not see him in their rival's uniform over the next 10 years? You got to think, guys, even if they declare right now, nope, we can't do it. We're in this situation where we've got to actually shed a little bit, and we like to add, but we can't add that. We want that. We can't add that. But the Cardinals all of a sudden are a contender. Do you guys think that drastically changes Theo's approach to this?
No, I don't think so. I think that Theo's plan is Theo's plan. And if they're out on Harper and Machado, then they're out on Harper and Machado. And it doesn't matter what the Brewers or what the Cardinals do. I think he and Jed, and for as long as he's there, Jason McLeod, have a plan, and they're going to stick with the plan. And it doesn't matter what the rest of the division does. They're going to do what they think is necessary in order to improve the team.
Would they get involved if for nothing else but to jack the price up?
Absolutely.
I don't know, because I don't think that they want to accidentally fall into trying to pull that off and having what happened with Jason Hayward happen to them. I mean, if they're serious about being out, then you can't take the chance that they make a below market offer and he says, I want to play in Chicago. I want to play with Chris Bryant. So
I lost the gong sound.
So I will take that offer, right?
Yeah.
Because if you withdraw that offer, that's it. You're done for free agents.
Okay. Well, I wanted your take on that because I'm still, well, you know me, I'm kind of a glass half empty guy over the last few years in regards to what I think they're willing to do. And I don't look, we've kind of, as Cardinal fans, we've been blindsided a little bit, like the Angels came out of nowhere and grabbed Pujols. In retrospect, I think Pujols wanted to leave anyway. I think he was done. But like that was a shock to us. So nothing surprises me when we play this game that I can imagine at some point in time. I wouldn't be surprised if I wake up one morning and what happened is you assholes left me like 36 texts and we wake up and Harper's in a Cubs uniform and somebody took Hayward for nothing. Yeah, we'll absorb his whole contract. They shipped Schwarber off and got some, high-level prospect. They probably got Eloy Jimenez back from the White Sox or some crap like that. I mean, it's just it won't. That's what I'm prepping myself for some bullshit like that to happen, so I won't be as disappointed.
I like the way you think, Ron. I really, really do.
I honestly, and this is not trolling you, Ron, I think that that's a much better approach to the offseason than buying all of the leaks, the supposed leaks that are out there right now, because you have to think, especially the way that Theo has conducted himself since he came into the majors. You can't take what he says at face value. Other than that, a 30,000-foot level. But if he says that they're out on the free agent market, that does not mean that they're out on the free agent market. That means that he's trying to disguise his intentions.
And so Boras, we can come back to that. Boras is right. It's a submarine race.
It is.
It's not. They're. It's and with a Caterpillar drive. Red October?
Ryan.
Red October,
Yeah.
nobody?
Ryan, some things in here don't react well to bullets.
Yeah.
I love
Haven't got
it.
a Sean Connery in on here ever, so I like that. I'm a fan.
Thanks.
Can I please get? I want to get something. Here's the thing, guys. I did our show sheet, then I did Cardinals Nation, and I saved Cardinals Nation over top of ours. So I'm bouncing back and forth here between. It works pretty well, doesn't it? So anyway, so I'm not conspiracy theory here on Harper. I'm just look. I don't. These guys are not gonna. And Mazalok's doing the same thing. They're not gonna come out and tell you. They're not gonna broadcast. You know, they're not gonna. They're just. That's not how they're gonna play this chess game over the next month. So they're not gonna give away their intention. So you're right. I mean, people are overreacting. There's pictures of players in new uniforms that actually haven't put on that uniform yet. There's all kinds of shit floating around out there. There's been Bryce Harper pictures in Cubs uniform for like 12 months now.
Yeah.
Right.
I tell you what, there's been
My
one
heart-
consistent person who thinks that the Cubs are still going to spend, and that's Charles Meow. That guy, he has been consistent. Like anytime Rogers or Whitmire or whoever posts that the Cubs aren't going to spend, he's been consistent at posting pretty much it's bullshit. The Cubs are going to spend.
Oh, thank you, Gino. Gino's promoting our show there on Twitter for us. That's awesome.
Big scratch.
Pete, while we're sitting here chittering, can you private message Charles the Cat? Give him my number to call in.
I can't DM him because he doesn't follow us.
God,
But I did reach out to him. I did
He-
reach out to him earlier today to see if he would be willing, and he hasn't gotten back.
Well, I guess
He
that's
followed-
that answer.
He follows me.
Well, then you do
DM
it.
him.
Yeah.
Elliot,
Good job throwing yourself
my
under the
number,
bus.
and don't say it out loud. My number.
312-555-SEXX.
Because we've communicated back and forth a couple of times.
Have you now?
Let me see.
Yeah,
Hot shot.
Yeah, look at me. I've got inroads where you guys don't.
No
Okay.
insider.
Well, I
No
annoy people on
anonymous
Twitter,
sources.
so
He is not an insider, baby.
He's Theo Epstein. We've already discussed this.
What if it was Scott Boras?
okay. Then he better give me his contact info so that way I can beat his prodigy. All right.
Recklin,
That's
where
it.
are you? Where are you, by the way? I don't recognize the background. I'm worried
She's at
about
the
you.
boyfriends.
Are you being held up
I
somewhere?
am. I am not. I promise. I'm
Okay,
safe.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you caring.
We're always worried. All right, guys. Let me go down my list here.
My
Do you need
list.
some help?
I do. I need a shit ton of help tonight.
All right, fine.
Jim,
Ron, did you say that you broke
Nope.
down into drinking tonight? Is
I
that
did.
the-
This is the first beer I've cracked open, and I wasn't going to do it, but after the shit that's gone on here, since our show was supposed to start.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Tell you what, Ron, I'll put us on track, and then you can drive the ship here. The big bat. Who's it going to be for the Cardinals? I mean, because look, you've been on this for 2 years. The
Yeah.
Cardinals need somebody in the middle of their lineup. So who's it going to be? Bryce Harper, Paul Goldschmidt, Manny Machado, Josh Donaldson, Mike Moustakas, or is there? There are mystery teams when Scott Boras is involved. Is there a mystery bat involved in
yeah.
the Cardinals?
Yes. Now, so here's what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking that a target that I haven't really focused on a whole lot that's come up now, and Brecklin, you can chime in on this too, has been the acquisition of Paul Goldschmidt. Now, I know he's 31 years old. He's going to be 32 this year.
Okay.
But you would have to reasonably assume, well, he's got 1 year left before he hits the market. So I think that has a higher probability in my mind, much higher than signing Bryce Harper. So I think if they get him, that's somebody this year, for the first time in many years, that they can actually put in ink every day, ink in the 3-hole. He didn't have as great a year last year. I get that, right? But all of a sudden, you have a Goldschmidt in the 3-hole. Now you've got Ozuna. The world's not on his shoulders. And now you've got Matt Carpenter that can take a Xanax or whatever the hell he needs in the leadoff spot, knowing the world's not on his shoulders. You can start letting that lineup settle in and having some of these guys that have been forced to bat in positions they're really not ideally suited for to kind of settle in whatever role that's best for them. So I like that whole idea. I like it even better if you were able to trade for Goldschmidt from surplus you have, and then able to bring in a free agent like a Mike Moustakas, a left-handed bat, which you probably need at that point for third base. Do either of those players alone make me go, the Cardinals they're here, we've got it.
Wait.
But yeah,
if you're going to trade for Moustakas, if you're going to bring in Moustakas, and trade for Goldschmidt, where is Carpenter going to play?
He is going to be a Ben Zobrist role. That's what they said he was going to do last year, where they're going to get him plenty of at bats. They're going to get plenty of time. He's going to have to now.
So where else is he going to play? Is he going to play at second? What are you going to do with Colton Wong?
Colton Wong ain't moving anywhere.
Here's what I said. Listen to me again. A Ben Zobrist type of role.
Okay.
What do you mean? Okay. How is this confusing you?
No. How are you going to get Matt Carpenter 400 at bats in that?
This son of a bitch. Camera. Ha!
That was the sound of Ron karate chopping the GoPro that was very delicately balanced.
Oh yeah, glad I paid for this thing. yeah.
No.
Anyway.
Well, it's the Cardinals, guys. You got to remember, we're gonna have at least 20 injuries next season, so Carpenter will find his place.
Yes.
So it'll be fine.
No, seriously, Pete. I am thinking that last year, if you remember, before they went into the season last year, that was the role that they thought Matt Carpenter was going to be, more like a Ben Zobrist, like a super sub, if you will. And whether it be a corner outfield, what do you have? What do you got there, Breck?
Mudslide.
We don't have. That's the first mudslide that's ever been consumed on the Team of Rivals podcast. We confirm that. We confirm that, Pete.
Something chocolate and alcohol.
Math checks out.
You're absolutely right. The math does check out on that, although I think that the after effect of Malort could be characterized as a mudslide. So
that's true.
Yeah, very true. But no, I do think that the super sub is something that they had in mind with Matt Carpenter last year. It didn't work out. Obviously, they tried him again in the 3-hole. Wasn't working out. He's back at leadoff. But look, if you add that left-handed power and upgrade at third base, and you're able to bring in a Paul Goldschmidt at first base, Pete, I don't know so much that they need to rely on giving Matt Carpenter 500 at bats in the year. I think they can find that time for him. He is. Somebody's going to flame me, and go ahead. He is serviceable as a spot starter anywhere on that infield except short. And he's serviceable in the corner outfield position, so they can find plenty of time for him. They can get him his at bats. He's got to move around. Now, he's getting older, so that's not ideal. But you don't discount the fact that, you know what, if they're able to bring in two guys like that, Matt Carpenter could be dealt for something else that they need, bullpen help. That's the next box to check. Now, Brecklin, you were gonna say something about this, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't like the idea of Matt Carpenter being dealt somewhere, but I definitely agree with you saying that, Matt Carpenter, if needed, can play basically any spot that he wants to, except for maybe like shortstop. I mean, basically what you just said. I was going to ask if it came between Moose or Goldschmidt, which one you would rather have, but then also, what do you think is going to happen to Jed Jerko in all these scenarios?
I would say Jed Jerko is going to go right back to the bench and be in a role that he's better suited for, because the problem with Jed Jerko is when he gets regular starts, and we've seen this for a couple of years now, where if he's out there too much, he's the type of player, guys, and you guys know him because we all have him, right? The guys that can tend to be overexposed. And I think Jed Jerko is a victim of overexposure. He's out there too often. People start figuring him out real quick. And I'm not saying I wouldn't classify him necessarily as a streaky person. I just don't think he's an everyday player. I think he's a great bat to bring in late in a game. I think he's a great guy that gets 1 to 2 starts per week. And that's where he's most valuable to almost every team. So I don't want to walk into next year with Jed Jerko, the starting third baseman.
So you don't think he's going to be part of a trade package anywhere along the line? You just think that he's going to be warming the bench until we need him?
No, I wouldn't rule out that he's part of a trade package at all. I think I'm not saying it's likely, but I'm saying it would make sense. He's got. I believe I could be wrong. I think he's got a couple more years of control left, and he's going to have value to somebody somewhere. And there may be a team or two out there that just doesn't have a corner infielder, and that's what they can use him for, and they can get some value out of him. But no, I don't want to walk into next year with Jed Jerko as the starting third baseman, because we're going to be looking at not on him alone, but if Jed Jerko is your starting third baseman, that means one of two things. One, you didn't do shit in the offseason, and he's right back at third base. Two, if Jed Jerko is your starting third baseman going into 2019, that means you signed Harper for right field and you made no more moves after that because you couldn't afford him. That's what that means to me.
That makes sense.
I'll repeat myself till I'm blue in the face. This, not to repeat myself from earlier, but rather to reiterate what you said.
Yeah.
When I said that we don't need Harper, we definitely need somebody who has the type of skill that Harper has. We need that big bat. We need a 3-hole hitter. We just don't need an outfielder.
You need the flow.
You're right. You're right, Brecklin. If they've got depth anywhere, it's in the outfield, and that's where they need it.
We have so much going on for the outfield. I mean, Ozuna and like Fowler problems aside,
but you can leverage
that.
But you can leverage that depth for other areas that you do have a need on the trade market, right? You can ship out Jose Martinez.
Yeah, that's fair.
You might be able to leverage Tyler O'Neill or Marcell Ozuna or somebody to fill an area that you think you need, whether it's rotation depth or it's somewhere on the infield. I mean, you would think that the infield is something that needs to be addressed. Maybe the depth that you guys have, the perceived depth that you have in the outfield, could be leveraged into something simply by signing Harper, because if you guys do sign Harper, you still have plenty of money. I mean, you're a small market team.
Yeah, so small. I understand what you're saying. I just don't see the front office making a move like that.
I agree.
I don't think that's something that they would want to do. I think that they have tunnel vision towards left-handed
hitters.
I can't remember. Yeah, I was going to say hitters, and then I was starting to think pitchers, and I was like, maybe I should just generalize to left-handed people in general.
It's a good thing that Bryce Harper doesn't hit left-handed.
Oh yeah, no, Bryce Harper hit left-handed. Then that's that done deal. No, I'm kidding.
He does,
but and then
of course I would get kicked out.
This show is just cursed.
It really is. That's fine. Cheers.
Sorry, Brecklin, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got booted.
Yeah, no, you're fine. It's best that you cut me off because I wasn't sure where I was taking that sentence. It's mainly that the Cardinals have tunnel vision towards, I would like to think, around third base with a 3-hole hitter and then left-handed people. And with Harper being an outfielder, I think that they think that they're fine. And the idea of leveraging the outfield that we have right now isn't something that they're thinking of, because they're like, that area is good, so we're not going to touch it and we're going to move on. I mean, Ozuna's heading into his last year before he's a free agent, if I'm correct. Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, Jose Martinez, there's been talk almost all season about trading him. So, I mean, that's two things that are coming up, but I don't know if our front office is going to be looking ahead that much.
Now, I have to say, you two are completely out of step with the rest of Cardinals Twitter, because not once in the last, 5-10 minutes, have either of you mentioned Josh Donaldson?
I mentioned Josh Donaldson near the beginning of the show, but then we were talking about the idea of Goldschmidt and Moose. Right. I was wondering about Goldschmidt and maybe Donaldson or something like that. I think it's just interesting that we would be talking about Donaldson again after we didn't go after him before. So I was actually going to ask you about that, Ron. Not to steal your question, Pete.
No, I mean
it's building off of my question. Well done.
No, it's a fair question. It's a good one. I was pining for Donaldson last off season. I'm glad that didn't happen given his injuries. But I mean he was available at the August deadline, right? When they didn't have to give up much of anything for him, at least for the month of September. Mm-hmm. They could have, he didn't play much, but they had the chance then. They had they had a chance at the trade deadline and they still didn't go after him. So I don't think that's a foregone conclusion. I think many people thought, you look at what experts write down as the likelihood of what players are best fits and who is likely to go where, and you see Donaldson tied to the Cardinals as probably the number one destination. And I'm there with you. If you look at this thing on the whole, they've had opportunities to get him and just didn't do it. So I don't think it's a slam dunk that he ends up in a Cardinal uniform. Now, if they announce tomorrow that they've struck a deal with him for 2-3 years, and at least the contract, you can swallow that if it doesn't work, I wouldn't be disappointed. I mean, they've done something, and there's opportunity there, I guess, for upside. So I wouldn't be disappointed, but I'm not banking on that at all either. I think they're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even kind of pulling this back again towards Bryce Harper, if we were to sign Bryce Harper in whatever alternate reality that would be, I wouldn't be upset with almost any signing that we would make for the players that we've mentioned. It's just what I think is realistic. And to be honest, I mean, you guys have talked about what about all these, secret players that we haven't really been hearing about. I'm expecting the Cardinals to sign somebody that I haven't thought about and just be like, oh, yeah, I mean, I could see how that could help, but it not be somebody that I'm expecting.
Maybe you guys will land Swiss G.
Maybe.
Swiss G.
We're going to have to start saying the way we do Dazzle. Or what you do.
Can we shift?
We'll have to come up with a way to deliver Swiss G's.
Yeah. Hey, can we shift gears a little bit over to our Cub friends here? The situation with I know we've touched on a little bit, but now it's like the Cubs aren't going to negotiate a contract extension with Joe Madden. That's kind of I want to hear. Well, I'll stop there and let you guys take it, because I think this is going to be an interesting response from all of you.
I feel like this is to light a fire underneath Joe and to get him, I feel like almost in an uncomfortable spot to see how he performs. It sounds like that Theo is asking him to do things a little bit differently for this next year that he normally wouldn't do, like taking batting practice, doing fundamental drills, being more hands-on,
playing
with the
players
coaches.
on a getaway day before an off day, playing starters.
Yeah. So I feel like this is just to get a fire lit underneath him and the team, to get a performance out of them. I mean, I don't know how these guys react to this sort of situation, but maybe this is Theo's idea of doing that, getting more performance out of these guys rather than letting them be more relaxed. Maybe it needs to be more intense for these guys to be able to perform better. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel like they're trying to get more performance out of these guys by doing this. That's kind of how I feel.
I think that this is an indicator that this is Joe's last season, regardless of what happens.
Well, especially after the Jim Hickey news.
Yeah, regardless. They win the World Series. He gets to go out on top. They don't. There's a built-in excuse to let him go.
Do you think that the brass's mind is set on bringing in Joe Girardi next year?
No, but I think that they're ready to move on from Joe, because I think that they are seeing some troubling signs.
Is this Tito's last year on his contract with the Indians?
I don't know.
Okay,
I can look.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Since Ron isn't available to vamp because he's apparently. Oh, he's here. He just turned off his camera. Ron, stop masturbating furiously.
No. Speaking of Tito's.
Oh dear Lord.
Speaking of Tito's.
It's because I feel like it's either going to be Girardi that comes in next year, or if it's Tito's last year in his contract with the Indians, Theo will bring him in because of the relationship that he has with Tito.
True. That's a good point.
Well, according to Scott Boras, the reason that Cleveland is experiencing difficulties in drawing a crowd despite their recent success is because they play in a division of non-competitive teams, which we discussed at many opportunities during the last season. So I would agree with Scott Boras's shrewd assessment of the situation there in the mistake on the lake.
Ooh, take on the lake. Ooh. We actually
wait. Are we talking about the Browns or are we talking about the Indians?
We're talking about the city.
Matter. Let's talk about the Padres for a second.
What?
Whoa! No.
Oh.
I'm kidding. We don't have to.
Fuck the Padres.
Yeah.
Now you're on board.
Yep. Everybody
Nothing
get on the
else matters.
train. Get on the train.
So would the baseball singularity be defined as the Padres and the Cardinals trading two former Cardinals, the Padres and the Mariners trading two former Cardinals prospects who are represented by Scott Boras? Is that the baseball offseason singularity?
What?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't even call it, well, I don't know if a singularity is the right way to put it, a certainty. Is that a better way to say it? I don't know. But
we're not doing a good job of being positive Cardinals fans this,
I'm not.
this
well,
episode.
Well,
Ron, I feel like people are going to be upset.
Well,
well,
that's fine.
whatever.
And they can be upset with me, but you know that Pete knows me well enough by now, and we've done this preseason off-season prediction declaration thing before. Look, I'm a big fan of not at least trying to not set myself up for ultimate failure and embarrassment. Are
you saying you have
honestly,
low standards, Ron? Don't tell your wife.
No, I think
Ron,
I think
we've discussed this. Ron way outkicked his coverage.
Yeah, I did.
Like Ron's coverage is at the 30-yard line when the receiver catches the ball. There's a wide open field to set up the blockers.
Thank you.
I kid.
Thank you. That's a
Ron. I'm envious. I'm not even kicking the ball. So.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that in the off season.
Do you think I can get Scott Boras to rep me?
Oh my god.
Probably not. He's got his hands full.
I've got the footwork and the talent to play first base.
Here's a question, guys. Let's go back to Boras for a second. Given what just took place last year, Recklin, you okay? Given what just happened last year with, we all know, right? Like a lot of Boras clients got screwed last year, quite frankly. Mike Moustakas got screwed,
Yeah.
Greg Holland. I mean, there's a lot of Jake Arrieta got screwed. What do you think? Is he just going to stick to his formula? Like, I know this damn market the best. I know last year was an anomaly. Or you think it's going to be different?
Cocky bastard. He will.
Well, but the question is, you guys think he's not going to make those same mistakes he made last year, or is he just, I've done this. That was 1 year out of like 20. Like, what do you think, Pete?
I think he's probably going to stick to his formula because he's dealing with, as we've said, a generational talent. And I think that, everything is going to trail in Bryce Harper's wake. And who knows? Maybe the teams have learned their lesson from last season, and so they're going to look to move early before Bryce Harper signs. But either way, I think that it's not going to make a difference in the way that he approaches things. Because if people want to sign Marwin Gonzalez or somebody else who is represented by his company, maybe they're going to do it early on, and so they're going to make an aggressive offer in order to land that player, and then see how things shake out with Bryce Harper, rather than waiting until things shake out with Bryce Harper, and then find themselves, if they throw all their eggs in the Harper basket and they're unable to land him, then they're scrambling to make up for it. So yeah, my impression is, Scott Boras is going to stay the course.
Do you guys think, Elliot? Do you think Schwarber is going to end up in a Cub uniform next year? Is he going to be gone this winter?
I honestly, I think it's 50-50. 50% chance that Schwarber is not in a Cubs uniform. I'm almost leaning towards he will not be at the beginning of the 2019 season. That's kind of my feeling right now. There's nothing that's been out there that says he's not going to be. I just feel like the experiment has taken its place. that he really needs to be on an AL team, and there could be a piece out there that the Cubs would like to bring in that an AL team is needing a DH for that they would consider trading for Schwarber.
I think Brecklin's about to pass out on us.
No,
What?
no, I'm not. Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Yeah, my headphones died in the middle of this, and it's just been one thing after the other. So I'm just here like, all right. Well, we'll see what goes wrong next. So no, I'm all good. I promise.
So Schwarber not in a Cubs uniform. I give it a 50% plus chance that happens by the beginning of the next season.
I think it depends on what happens in the rest of the market.
I think that's accurate.
Well, let's talk just real quick.
Oh my gosh,
real
this
quick.
is sports talk.
Yes, it is.
Oh my
If we could break in real quick here, since I have already almost single-handedly destroyed this whole show tonight, and I mean destroyed it, like bad, Scott. So while we're at it, real quick,
let's destroy it some more.
Let's take
What's
it
up,
down.
little Nettle?
Let's take it down like hard, like a yard dart. Remember the yard darts, guys?
Yes. They were still legal when I was young. I used to throw them at my little brothers.
Ron, let's refer to
Jarts.
Jarts. I'm sorry. Yes, jarts.
That's right.
Brecklin, have you ever seen a real pair of jarts?
I don't think I have, but I've heard of them. Mainly that they weren't.
And I don't know why I used pair because that
They
sounds
used to
awful.
have
I mean, a set.
big ass metal tips.
I was gonna say the thing that looked like you could impale a small child.
Yes.
And you give them to small children to aim, assumedly not at another small child. It seemed like a great idea.
Or the neighborhood kid that grew a mustache way too early, was stronger than the other ones, and would throw it up like 70 feet into the sky where it could.
And then everybody would run.
Are you talking about yourself there, Ron?
No, I couldn't
No.
grow. Yeah, talking about Scott actually.
And you said that it sounded bad when you referred to a pair of jarts. It didn't sound bad until Elliot added on that they had big ass metal tips.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, how are we going to have Scott ruin this show?
Well, we're going to have Scott ruin this show real quick because I don't think any baseball people have given up on us. They gave up on us when we were like 10 minutes late, and then after we jumped on and I had to exit. And so real quick, guys. Ray's lineage. I sent you guys the video.
Yeah.
Elliot, Pete, me, Brecklin. I didn't send it to you because I didn't think you would care. I thought you would reject it and maybe never and maybe never return to the show again.
Rude.
This is a sci-fi reference, real quick. Are you guys intrigued by this theory?
Absolutely.
I mean, it sounds cool, but I don't put much stock into it.
Well, thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
Is this the whole thing with Rey being Princess Leia and Han Solo's kid or something like that?
No.
Okay.
Way to warm up to Brecklin and Star Wars. Everybody simultaneously going, no.
No, she's a girl.
Shut up,
Yucky.
Pete.
Girls. Nerd cred. Girls. Boo.
Whip your ass if it was anything Marvel. Anyway, continue on.
She would. She
I
would.
like that. Careful.
Oh.
Given that Ray's lineage piece, I don't know. He relied an awful lot on stuff that is now considered non-canon, so it's hard to put any stock in that. Especially given that the only person who seems to be making any effort to bring legends back into canon is Dave Filoni, and he has nothing to do with the films at this point.
I know he talked about a lot about the video game, The Force Unleashed, but there was also a lot of what he was talking about in Rebels, and that between Kanan and Ezra going into the temple, the Jedi temple, and then with Luke going into to the same tree that was referenced in The Force Unleashed.
Pete, we have to hold on. We have to intersperse Scott Boras comments in between this Star Wars talk, okay? So I'll go ahead and I'll get us started. Okay. I'll get us started.
The Star Wars? What the? Just use BB-8 as the ball. We're done.
No, we're talking Star Wars, but we're going to intersperse Scott Boras quotes in the middle of this. So right now I'll say the Marlins put the MIA back in Miami. Continue.
See, you know what's funny is okay. So as I'm watching that video, I feel like the guy that made the video, he has put much more effort into connecting all these different facets of the Star Wars canon than the people who actually control the Star Wars canon have put into it. That's kind of what I got out of it. I feel like it makes sense when you lay it out there, but I bet if you showed that to a bunch of executives that actually like are the ones that cater to the story, they'd be like, "Oh God, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We weren't even going for that."
Or like the lore keepers for Star Wars, that the ones that keep track of what is actually canon and what's
story
not.
group, Elliot. And by the way, so sometimes only one of the twins shows up. Play along, everyone.
Oh my.
Which twin? Is it Luke or Leia?
You.
I mean, he could be. He could look at
Ron.
That was a Boras quote.
Scott Boras could actually be giving us clues about the future of the Star Wars storyline.
Are you
only one of the twins shows up?
Hold on, I want to hear what Brecklin saying.
So you give me the idea that Scott Boras is just omnipresent.
Yes.
In absolutely everything.
I think Scott Boras might have written the Journal of the Wills.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
ready?
so ignorant.
Remove the context. Remove the context. Scott. Ready?
Yeah.
It's fashionable. It's historical. It's global, certainly, and it has inspirations that deal with great shoes and great hair. When you're in a category of talent and player in the Force that rarely is there, we're talking about a process that I think is very unconventional. You're dealing with a generational player. And what is a generational player? He holds the quality of elite performance. He's available for the greatest number of elite years for performance. Now, is he talking about Bryce Harper, or is he talking about Luke Skywalker?
Good. I'm glad you stopped there, because I want the next one. I want the next one. I'm going to put an accent to it. All right, keep going, Scott. Scott, your thoughts. So this whole thing, you think that whoever did this analysis, which isn't unlike sports, Scott, and I know you don't like me tying in sports to science fiction or superheroes or anything. You actually get pissed at me and you despise my soul. He's still there, right? Oh,
yeah, I'm here.
All right.
What?
Ron's not here anymore.
Nope. Ron.
Oh no.
That means we lost
Ron
both of
froze.
them.
Of course. He was just about to make a brilliant point. And you know, the best part is the only people who are going to hear this is everybody who's watching on YouTube, because Ron's recording on his end. And so he's not recording us having any, well, actually right now he's not recording me.
This is the show of the year.
This is.
It is the show of the year edition. Wait, so that means we don't even have Scott either, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Not only did I break down and start drinking during this episode, I broke out the pizza. Like,
there
why don't
you
you bring the boyfriend in here too? Let's meet him. Let's see if he's worthy of dating our co-host.
You want my boyfriend in here? He's playing video games.
Yeah.
What's he playing?
Put down the video game and pay attention to his girlfriend. Take part in what his girlfriend does.
Unless he's playing an online game, then you can't pause that shit.
Yeah, you can't pause that shit. Don't.
Like he did, and he died. So, everyone, this is
your boyfriend died.
Oh Jesus!
There you go.
That's been an intense game.
Yeah. I used to play games like that. Brecklin's done. Oh, yeah? She just handed the podcast over to her boyfriend. She's done. She walked away from the whole thing. We don't know your name. Please introduce yourself to the audience that's not listening anymore.
Well, my name's Jacob.
Jacob, nice to finally meet you. Okay.
Jacob, I believe our understanding is that you root for the right side of the rivalry. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right, we've got another co-host.
So which one of you two is stepping down?
You are.
Wrong.
This is the Fuck You Ron podcast.
That's right. Yeah, we have transitioned to the Fuck You Ron podcast.
Yes. Fuck you, Ron.
Whoa! Did I just hear that?
You did. It's the theme song. So, Jacob, what are your feelings on
Scott,
the theory
hold on, Pete.
that Rod
Scott,
shared about
Scott,
Ray's parentage?
Scott, don't feel obligated that you have to stay on. If you have to leave,
I'm not gonna lie. I think I don't follow Star Wars that closely.
whoa, hold on, back up. What did you say again?
I said I don't follow the new Star Wars that closely.
The new, but you follow the old one, right?
Yeah,
Like, you know.
Wait,
Yeah.
how do you define new and old?
The prequels and the 4, 5, and 6 ones are the old ones that I consider. The ones that just came out owned by Disney are considered the new ones for me.
All right. Well, you
Okay,
get out
what
of
about-
get out of camera right now.
What
Get out
about
of camera.
what
But-
about the Clone Wars and Rebels? Where do you stand on those?
Oh God, Pete.
Clone Wars. I will say that I don't understand why the second one is called Attack of the Clones.
All right, you scored a point there.
But
You know what I would have loved if the response was, aren't those two for children? I would have died. That would have been great. But
Well, it's best when your wife goes, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk to you while you're watching your cartoon."
my wife says that too.
So funny story. So when I first started watching Rebels. This was during the first season. She would walk in every once in a while and she'd be like, "Oh God, you're watching that damn cartoon again." And so I was watching it out in the living room, and it was when they started doing the double episodes. And she sat there for 2 of them, and it got done, and she kind of looked at me and she goes, "This actually has a storyline to it." And I'm like, "Why do you think I watch it?"
Okay.
Well, but that's not
clearly-
easy. Yeah.
Clearly, we've gone completely off the rails. So
Don't worry. Well, editing, Pete.
I know editing, but for the one person who's watching, when we're not live on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook at Team Arrivals Podcast, on Twitter at Team Arrivals Pod, and on Instagram at Team Arrivals Podcast. You can contact us at the show at TeamArrivalsPodcast.com. On Twitter, you can find Elliot at TOR_Elliot, Ron at TOR_Ron75, and Brecklin at Carry On Cards. And catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts: iTunes, Radio Public, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and Google Play. Radio Public is, of course, our preferred platform because it does throw a couple of pennies our way every time you listen. And don't forget to visit the Team store on Zazzle.
MLS
That's
number.
Star
Blah,
Wars.
blah, 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 MLS number. Blah, 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 blah. All right.
Come on, that was impressive. I didn't.
That was
really good and flawless. Nice work.
Yeah. How did you do that? Never mind. I don't care. Hold on. Okay. There was the exit music, and we're done.
That was absolutely 100% appropriate for tonight's show.
What is Scott? You haven't been here. This has been a disaster since we started it. The show before this was like flawless, and all the equipment worked. Here's the problem I did tonight. I tried to hardwire in through an extender. Didn't work with the work laptop. I've never used Hangouts on the work laptop, and we arrive where we're at now. Which is just total mess. Everybody's too loud on my end. Pete, I'm going to 100% rely on your audio, and hopefully it comes through all right. Anyway, Scott.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Let's get back to the theory, because we kind of went off the rails there, which is, I mean, go figure. We went off the rails a little bit, but what I thought was intriguing, Pete, you're right. Like, somebody was kind of digging into Legends, which is just no longer part of the lore, no longer part of the story. Somebody dug into that, and none of that stuff really counts anymore. However, I think that's pretty good detective work there, going back to a couple that were they were video game stories of The Force Unleashed, going back to the clones and trying to tie some of that stuff together. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was intrigued by it, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we find out Rey's not like the 973rd clone of her line, and all of a sudden one woke up and figured it out.
Well, not just of her line, of Luke
like that.
Skywalker, because that's
I
what
like
he
that a
puts
lot.
out there. He's not just any clone, or she's not just any clone. She's a clone of Luke Skywalker. That's what he puts out.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that with Disney being owned by, or with Lucasfilm, Star Wars being owned by Disney, Disney also owns Marvel. So sometimes ideas can float between one or the other, and that is not something that it's not out of the realm of possibility, because there's a character in the Marvel comics, X-23, who is actually the 23rd attempt to clone Wolverine.
Weapon
and
X.
and she actually was a female, because the X chromosomes were damaged, so they're able to clone the Y chromosomes, and they end up making a female clone of Wolverine. So,
What?
Yeah, Logan's daughter. So
Wait a minute.
Ron and Pete are completely confused.
Yeah.
Elliot's engaged and Brecklin sweat. So
And Scott and Scott is like, he's rocking back and forth. He's like, oh, somebody gets it, somebody knows. Pete and I,
I'm getting really sweaty right now.
yeah, Pete and I are confused. We're disoriented. We're older guys. We don't know what's going on.
I'm having palpitations.
It's basically the have you guys seen the Logan movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, or we're talking about the girl, right?
Yes. Yes, she is the reason why she is the daughter of Wolverine is because she has been cloned of Wolverine's chromosomes or DNA.
Yeah.
To have the same kind of traits as Wolverine, except for they started her at a younger age than I believe Wolverine was 100 years old when he finally got his adamantium skeleton.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was around 100.
What?
Okay, every Star Wars conversation you ever pluck me into the middle to, the thing that you're feeling right now is what I go through.
Look at the look at the hands. Look at the hands, the passion. Speaking of the passion, we're gonna go into it right now.
now we get it.
Not literally.
She's been faking.
I know.
She has been faking for the last 2 months, pretending that she's interested in Star Wars. She's not. She's been faking it.
I know.
I don't care. It's the fact that you guys don't ever update me on what actually is going on, so you're just like, oh, look at all the Star Wars ones.
Stop
Right.
it. Stop it.
You guys are like,
No.
Star Wars.
But Pete,
You
shut.
are
Pete,
savage
shut up.
to our Harrys.
Pete, shut. You've seen an owner's dream happen before. For an owner to know that the rocket ship of economic opportunity is just blasting off because of the right player just entering the prime of their career.
Excellent.
Ron,
Continue.
Ron, can you please give us a Boris in a Gollum voice? Please.
Okay.
Pick
All right.
one.
Hold on.
Camera's gonna come on.
Yes, please climb up on the table too.
Oh.
If I can still read it. I'm older, so I need glasses.
Gosh.
Right. Ready? Hold on.
You've seen an owner's dream happen before, Precious. For an owner to know that the rocket ship of economic opportunity is just blasting off. Because the player is just entering the prime of its career. Ah!
Oh, that's great.
All right. Here we go. And you got it. Scott, are you ever going to answer your phone on Thursday nights again? That's my question to my brother.
Maybe.
Maybe no. Maybe yes. Yes. Maybe no.
As long as we talk some Marvel and some Star Wars.
All right.
Amazing.
Oh goodness.
Oh, don't worry. If the baseball talk goes on too long, I'll force the conversation.
You'll redirect it.
Hey, just
Yeah.
take
Very good.
Keep redirecting it.
DC comic line where Superman and Batman played baseball against each other. There you go. Boom.
There you go.
It's literally one of the greatest issues ever made.
It's really cool.
Not even joking.
Yeah.
You guys, I have to keep hitting that button so the camera doesn't shut off. I'll never use a GoPro again. I'm sorry, Brecklin. I was going to send you this camera, but I can't now because this thing takes
So
beautiful
where
pictures.
were we going with the talk of Weapon 20 or X-23?
Yeah, finish that. I'm intrigued by it, actually. I don't know about this stuff. Pete, we need
what I
to
was
catch
saying
up.
is that, you know, since Disney owns both Marvel and Lucasfilm, like, you know, they have more access to different ideas and things like that each one's doing. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Rey could be a clone of, you know, Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker, and she's just a female clone of those characters. So I think the fact that if she turns out to be a clone, I think that's really cool. Because at this point, it just kind of feels like, I don't know, it just kind of feels
but didn't that
Rey
say she was she might be a clone of those two, of 11, 13, and the other, I can't remember her name, that he was interested in from the video game. Wasn't he saying that Rey could be a clone of those two, not of Luke, but of those two from that game?
I don't know if it specifically said that. I don't think he came out and said that, but I know in my mind I was thinking, oh, that would be kind of cool, like a cool callback if they did something like that.
Because the guy who plays that character in that video game, that's actually what he looks like. He is a real actor. I don't know if you're familiar with the sci-fi TV series. Oh God, it's with the vampire, the ghost, and the werewolf. Being Human. Yes, so he's the one who plays the vampire in that TV show.
Which one? The British or the American version?
The American version. But he also does the voices in Clone Wars. He is Palpatine, and he is...
Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer, yes. Great actor, great voice actor.
Good looking guy, too.
Yeah.
Good looking man. Kind of looks like I do.
Hey, I got a theory I have a theory to blow your mind. So
it would be awesome if that all came full circle in episode 9, where they could kind of do a flashback with him to kind of show as Rey's parents where the clone part comes in. So since he was a clone, the 1123rd clone,
1138,
1138, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here you go.
So
Are you ready? This is the ultimate crossover. Blow your mind. Are you prepared for this?
Ready.
Hit us with it.
Rey is a clone of Wolverine.
There you go.
No. No, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
No, it would actually make more sense.
Everything.
It would make more sense if it was like she's a clone of like the Phoenix. That would make more sense.
Why was I expecting you to say Deadpool or something?
And a Boras client.
And a Boras client.
That's right.
That goes without saying.
Time to make the fucking chimichangas.
What?
Deadpool. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a Deadpool thing, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've only seen it like twice because we have young kids in the house. I can't watch anything except on my girl.
None of this is going to make the podcast, is it?
Oh, we're
Ron.
The audio version, probably not.
Well, then, fuck it.
The video will remain alive forever. We can't take this down.
Can't.
Scott, again, if you cannot stick with if you have something you need to do that's important, you do not feel obligated to stay on with your brother and this band of.
Hey, watch your words.
Married men and women.
I am included in that band, Brecklin.
Okay, but there's also a lady in the room, and I want him to like
There
me
is?
because I like his podcast. So play nice.
Well,
Did you just call Jacob a lady?
well, guys, why don't you look?
Lady.
Look! Hey, look! I think I can negotiate something here. I think it's already been negotiated, but I'm going to take credit for it.
Oh, great.
I think that Scott's got a new co-host.
Yeah.
You got to ask Scott about that. Got to make sure.
Right?
Yeah. No,
my-
I'm. Yeah.
And
I'm on board with
so
this.
Scott, it's not just any co-host. I mean, this is the kind of co-host that can take you to the level that, you know, most owners of a podcast can't even imagine. I mean, this is like, this is once in a generation type of thing where you can get a female who knows as much as she does about a genre that society usually judges men as being a part of, and not so much female. So this is not just any co-host, man. You're getting a very unique set of skills, set of knowledge here. She knows her stuff.
Yeah,
She
we're
speaks
getting
well.
we're
She
getting
sounds
an
great.
equal gender balance.
No, that's not where I was going after. I was going after more money on my part, and so let me finish.
Wait, are you suggesting?
Well, hey, and I do need to say we really have a great showtime slot. I mean, 8:30 on Thursdays. It's a perfect time and day of the week.
Well,
Oh wait,
yeah, she made her name on our show.
That's your guys.
So
Oh,
yeah. So
She made her name long before our show.
shut your mouth, Pete. You don't give away our card. You don't give away the cards, so to speak. Yes,
Cards?
but no.
See that pun in my bio.
Yeah, it's a play
wait,
on
sorry,
words. It was a
check
play
that.
on words there. Yeah, you're right. So yes, I would look forward to you guys teaming up to bring us all the DC and Marvel and some. I trust that Star Wars episodes you're going to call in an expert, Scott.
Oh well, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, we're definitely a Star Wars episode.
Pete, don't get excited. He's not talking about you.
I know he's not. Hey, so Ron, what you're saying is that the conversation between, and it doesn't matter. I'm still hoping this works. You're saying that the conversation between Brecklin and Scott went something like this?
Nope.
Hear it?
Nope.
No, we can't hear anything.
Damn it!
Nope.
Of course you can't.
That means you've got to do it.
I don't think it was. I don't think the conversation was.
It
quite
was
like
working
that, Pete.
earlier.
I think it was a little bit
Stop,
more like
stop.
this.
No, stop.
I think that was a conversation.
No. I know how the conversation went. You just need to stop.
All right.
Be quiet, and I'm going to do my best to make it happen.
I'll turn it down when I hear it.
I'm so in love with you.
Oh my God.
You're holding your speak. No, we're not doing this.
It's all right with me.
Fine. I'll just read it.
Fine, you read it then.
Yes.
You got a
I don't know
Boras
who
quote.
you are. I don't know what you want. Rats, I can tell you I don't have enough money. But I do have
Want to spend my
skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills make me a nice
say sing.
I cannot hear Peter.
Hey,
Let this
sounds
podcast
so
go
much
now.
better.
That'll be the end of it. I will not look for you.
Loving
I'll
you
pursue you.
forever.
But if you don't, I will look for you.
What I
Find you.
To the backdrop of Al Green. That is
Yeah,
the
that's
best.
pretty good.
Yeah, that is the best.
Pretty good.
That's the best. Pete, that was a good call.
I actually used that on my last cover letter for a job application.
Did you get the job?
No.
I'm shocked. How does that happen?
I got a restraining order, but
Yeah, it doesn't really last so long though. They can't prove.
yeah. I mean, as soon as it's up, I mean, it's up.
Brecklin, have you ever had a restraining order on you? Just asking for a friend.
Asking
No.
for a friend.
Wait, did you ask if anyone had a restraining order on her, or if she had a restraining order on anyone?
Her. On her.
No one has a restraining order on me, but I have a restraining order on a few people.
Wait. Let me guess. Their names start with an R, an E, and a P. Just
No.
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 It doesn't count. I mean, that's where the law needs to catch up because if she has a restraining order on us, like I'm like thousands of miles away.
Exactly. So we're within, but she's choosing to engage with us. We're not violating the restraining order. We're perfectly within the law. You send your lawyer here, Brecklin, and you try to enforce that restraining order.
Okay, the restraining order depends on what's stipulated, because a lot of times it's any direct contact with the person or with any friends or family members of the person of interest.
This is not direct contact, young lady.
I am talking to you, Pete. What do you want?
All right. Well, this has been the worst show we've ever done.
No, that's the sad thing. It's not.
It's not. Brecklin, Brecklin had a very good idea about promoting the show a little bit more often by showing short video clips. And I think Brecklin has a load of material.
Short
Oh
clips
dear!
of what?
No, I'm not even
Just
sure.
of what?
Just short video clips?
Yeah, just I
Of
think
anything.
he had a really good idea of
Just short video clips.
It was an idea like we could be able to sum up some of the things that we talked about during the podcast, and then be able to show it as a video clip out on social media, so that way people have an idea of what we actually talked about.
This is a great show to pull from.
Yeah.
This would be a good one. That's why I brought it up. I think this would be a really good one to pull snippets from.
Especially the last half hour.
Yeah, I'll just all the Scott Boras quotes, and that's it.
No, there's
You
a lot
know
more
what's
than
funny is that you said that this has been your worst episode, and I'm pretty sure I've been a part of a couple.
No, you haven't.
You, Scott. This was tanked way before I called you.
Ron will never release the worst episode, and it really disappoints me.
All I want for Christmas is worse.
The good episode that we had in the hotel room that didn't get recorded.
Right. No,
Right.
that was fucking terrible. Wow, that was. I don't want to be
Well,
reminded.
that wasn't terrible. It just didn't get recorded.
No, it was a
Right,
good one.
right.
It could have been a good one.
Well, nobody will know.
Nobody will know. Ron, you have to at least.
We can have a tribute. We
could. Ron, you need to put up the.
To the greatest podcast in the world, but nobody will ever see it.
Ron, do you have?
No, it didn't actually sound like that podcast. This is just a tribute.
Oh, I need a favor from all of you guys.
No.
Yes.
I just got a message from my little brother saying that he was watching the podcast, so I need you to all say hi.
What's his name?
Well, I didn't want to say that, but Traeger.
Traeger, we're so sorry to have wasted your time.
Sorry that you saw this one. We will try much harder next week. We will talk about baseball.
We did some solid baseball talk. So
We did.
Take care of him well. He's into comics and into baseball, so I'm
13% of the show was baseball.
yeah, we just didn't
Intelligible.
end it.
Yeah, we didn't end it. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. This is starting off the bat. This is my fault. I take 90% of the blame.
And I take 10% of the blame on your behalf, Ron.
So at least it's still another 10%.
No, it
there's
doesn't.
still
the other 10%.
No, it doesn't.
because
Fine. I take the remaining 10% of the blame on your behalf, Ron.
There you go.
This is all your fault. Hey, listen, do you still have the worst episode ever in your archives, or have you deleted it
I
entirely?
probably have the raw recording, yes.
Throw it up on Dropbox so that Brecklin and Elliot can partake of the awfulness,
Jeez.
so that they understand just
that
how
was
low.
20 days. It was
And
the
I'd like to hear it again.
oh, man.
Old times.
It could be a nice learning experience.
It could.
That's a really rough one, guys. I'm telling you.
That's okay.
Put it up. Put it up so we can listen to it.
We sat through this episode. I'm
It
sure
would be a great. You know what?
Let me
It
throw out
would
just a couple words to summarize that episode. Just a couple words. Rosie Perez, McDonald's, and puke.
Ron, you know what? Here's what I think. I think we put it up as a limited availability episode Thanksgiving week. Because
No,
we're not.
no.
I like
because-
that.
No,
because-
no, no.
Because no, listen. Because we're not going to record. Come on, we're not going to get on Thanksgiving Day, and we're
Well,
not going
it's
to get.
Bears.
No.
We're not going to get on that week. So put it up.
With each Zazzle purchase during Thanksgiving week, you can have limited access to the podcast that shall not be named.
She's much better at this than you are, Pete. She's got. I like that better. If you buy
Yeah, but if
something,
it's
you
every
do
Dazzle purchase, that just means that you,
one-time code.
me, Ron, and Elliot are going to be able to listen to it anyway. So, no, seriously, here's what you do: just to see what our reach is, right? Put it up on Wednesday, take it down on Friday.
I'm not even going to listen to that.
Yeah, since we're not going to record on that Thursday.
Yeah,
since
we're
it's
not going to do a
Thanksgiving,
show that week.
we'll leave it up for people to listen to.
Talking
one-man show that night.
You are not recording a show on Thanksgiving night. I know that. I
am now.
I know that you hate your life, but you don't hate your life that much.
No, I do. I'll do it.
Scott, this is where you need to intervene.
Nope, Scott, you're going to be with me. I'm going to call you.
What?
No, okay.
All right.
What, Scott?
We're in. There'll be a Thanksgiving
Yeah,
show.
I'll just fly out there for Thanksgiving. I'll hop on there.
Deal.
Okay, here's the really sad thing. I only have to play until 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving, so I'll probably be available.
I knew it. I knew it.
I am spending Thanksgiving with my family and then stocking down a PlayStation 4 for early Black Friday. So if we can talk baseball,
That's why I have a $199 deal.
what did you say? Sorry.
The Best Buy has a bundle deal. It's the new Spider-Man game plus the PS4, and it's $199.
Hey, can any of you guys explain to me how it is that Best Buy is still in business, but Toys R Us is not?
Because
I know.
Because Best Buy focuses on electronics, computers, cell phones, small kitchen appliances, floor care. What they did was this is ridiculous. They reinvested in themselves to do the stores within a store. So they have actual experts within TVs, Samsung products, Apple products, Windows products. So that's all they do is those products. It's actually
for people to be able to do an on-site touch and feel so that they can then purchase online from Amazon.
No, they're not a showroom anymore because the only way they can stay in business is if they buy out of them.
that people need for their lives, while Toys R Us sold products that a lot for their children they could buy. So,
oh my god.
why are we? Hey Scott, you want to leave with me and we'll just start the next episode of Bad Critic Podcast?
We ought to stay together.
Oh yeah, I'll be on that. I'll be all over it. All over it.
So why do you want the PS4 rather than the Xbox?
So talking about gaming systems.
Or maybe you'd like a Switch.
Ooh, my siblings have the Switch, and then while I was still in high school, we got the Xbox One, and we kept it at home so my brother could play on the One. So I have the 360 with me where I'm currently at, but I want to be able to play the new Kingdom Hearts that's coming out, as well as the new Spider-Man game, as top priorities. But yeah, I don't know. I grew up with an original Xbox and a PlayStation 2, and so now it seems like I'm kind of doing every other type of thing. But I've got a Nintendo 3DS, so I'm kind of good on the Nintendo thing for a little bit, even though I do want to play Breath of the Wild.
Did you hear that, old man?
It
grew up with an Xbox.
Ha ha ha.
Raise your hand if you grew up with an original Atari 2600.
I'm going to say, you're going to bring in the Atari thing, and then
Right.
be like, oh my gosh, you're so young.
I did.
An Apple II Plus? Anyone?
Apple IIe.
Oh, I can go Apple II Plus. I'm older.
Yes, you're all
Yeah.
decrepit. Congratulations, gentlemen.
We are.
Hey, but
Hey, Ron, do you remember that Tandy computer that we had?
Oh,
No, yes, I do.
Yeah, it had a Ghostbusters game.
It was
All I
not bad.
remember
It was
it.
not bad.
I remember on the Apple IIe they had the Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird one-on-one basketball.
Oh, that game was brilliant. No. No, before they had Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird, they had Dr. J and Larry Bird.
Oh God, that's amazing.
Ron, what are you saying?
Well, I'll tell you what. This is running a little bit late, so I think we need, at least if we're going to stay on, we need to shut off the live broadcast.
Finally. All right, let's good.
I already ran through the
Hey,
I already ran through the exit. So Ron, do you want to play music or you just want me to hit stop?
good night, folks.
Well, you,
Thanks for listening to this.
Bye.